Ready? Start. Then, sir, some attempt has been made to introduce certain elements in the present Constitution Amendment Bill, but naturally other details and further elucidations are out of the purview of the present bill, and therefore a new bill will have to be brought forward to the extent that it is necessary for incorporating these provisions. In the meanwhile, I would assure the House that government have made arrangements and will take steps for having interim advisory bodies, etc. So far as all these are concerned, and then immediately in the next session, or if that were not possible in the session after the next, an attempt would be made to place before this House a bill or bills for broadly carrying out the scheme, especially the administrative scheme that I have explained to this House. There will, of course, be, in addition to these bodies, so far as Delhi is concerned, a Delhi Development Authority. All these are necessary because Delhi is the capital, and all attempts have to be made to make Delhi as model a city as possible. Now, the next item with which this bill deals is what is known as the safeguards for linguistic minorities. Now, these would apply to all the states. So far as these is concerned, there are two or three aspects to this question. One is that we are dealing only the linguistic minorities, not only other minorities at all, and we are generally following the line that has been laid down by the State Reorganization Commission. The State Reorganization Commission rightly pointed out that even after the reorganization of states, there would remain a large population speaking languages other than the territorial language of the particular state. Now, so far as these people are concerned, certain safeguards were considered essential. In the first place, we have to note that all the inhabitants in any part of India, state, or union territory are the citizens of India. They have a common citizenship, and the rights of common citizenship will naturally be available in all respects so far as the linguistic minorities in part are concerned. But it is essential that, as far as possible, the interest of the linguistic minorities should be safeguarded to the extent that it is necessary. The State Reorganization Commission have pointed out in this respect that after all, these linguistic minority are the citizens of India. Now, Sir, so far as the State Reorganization Commission was concerned, it was stated that as far as possible there ought to be no statutory safeguards as such except to the minimum extent, and whatever it has stated has been accepted. It was stated that in respect of the rights of the children of these linguistic minorities, there ought to be a statutory provision and that they ought to be taught through the medium of their own mother tongue at the primary school level. Now that has been accepted, as the House will find a new provision has been made in the bill so far as the secondary education stage is concerned, and so far as the other questions are concerned. The other questions are many, as for example, to what extent there should be the language of a minority as a medium of examination in middle schools and in colleges, or whether it should also be a medium of administration in government offices. Now, sir, there is another question also which has been raised, namely the question of domiciliary rules. There are certain states where certain rules are made according to which it may be difficult for the non residents in that area to acquire certain rights. In some cases, very long periods have been laid down. If I mistake not, in one case 12 years residence was prescribed, and that was considered rather inequitable. As you are aware, sir, in this respect, the Constitution has stated that if, for example, there are any such rules which had the force of law at the time when the Constitution was inaugurated, then they would continue to have the force of law until Parliament makes a law in that respect. We are considering that aspects of the question also. Then, sir, the important question that has to be noted is that if we have a common citizenship, then the question arises whether it would be open, or it ought to be open to the various state governments to lay down certain rules which like to be complained of a discriminatory provisions so far as the acquisition of property is concerned, or so far as the admission of government services is concerned. Therefore, sir, the whole subject is under the consideration of the Government of India, and we are anxious to evolve certain provisions. Therefore, sir, coming back to the linguistic minorities, what has been decided, this is, it was suggested that the governor should have the right of finding out the solution for this and giving property rights to all citizens of his state.